What if I told you that our lives are so interconnected, so intertwined, that if you gave me 3 items, I could actually show you how they connect to each other? In a way, that's what journalism is all about, connecting the dots. Well, what if we put that theory to the test? That pretty much everything is connected to each other in some way. My name is Teneille Gibson, and this is Connect the Dots. Okay, so I'm going to draw the names of 3 different random items from 3 different cups and find out how they're connected to each other. So in this cup, I have the names of 10 different objects. In this cup, I have the names of 10 different events. And in this cup, I have the names of 10 different issues. Let's see. I have sneakers. I think of the GOAT, Michael Jordan, and Jordans are my fave. But I digress. Next, happy hour. A French 75 comes to mind because that's my favorite drink of the moment. It's 5 o'clock somewhere. And infrastructure. Waiting on my train all the time comes to mind. Okay, let's start with the easiest step. Google. Let's see what comes up. Nothing really stood out, so I'll just start with sneakers. I reached out to a few friends who I know love sneakers and asked if they knew someone who was like a sneaker guru. Both suggested Abdul.
You know, I've been buying sneakers for a long time, about over 30 years now, so I just love sneakers.
Abdul showed how the sneakers he brought with him are made of different materials, such as paisley fabric, silk, and pony hair.
So you see a lot of different designers use different materials. Maybe it just looks fly, or maybe it's for durability. Sneakers is just an industry where you can use pretty much any material that you want.
I started to think of what materials are associated with happy hour to see if there's a connection with sneakers. I thought of bottles, what's used for bottles, glass, cork. So I Googled cork and sneakers and all types of designs popped up. A coworker recommended another sneaker lover.
Yo, what up? My name is Jacques Slade.
I asked him about the cork connection with sneakers.
In the sneaker world, like the cork and things like that are generally reserved for like highlight moments, like a championship or someone broke a record or something like that.
Looks like the connection between sneakers and happy hour is cork. Cork stoppers are used for liquor, wine, and champagne. It's also used in shoe design.
I guess in a sense, there's these special moments. And I guess happy hour can be a celebration for a special moment. Someone just got a raise or got a big deal, and so they celebrate and they have wine. And so sneakers, in a sense, materials are used in that same way.
I emailed an engineering professor at George Washington University to get her thoughts on the connection between infrastructure, sneakers, and happy hour.
When we think of infrastructure, right, first let's agree that, infrastructure basically is the physical and organizational facilities that we've got that support our society, that allow us to do what we want to do. And so things like telecommunications. We're doing communication right now. Getting water, getting power.
I'm following so far.
Well, what about getting to places that we want to be? Well, that's part of transportation. And since we're American, we think of cars and roads, but that's just a small part of transportation infrastructure. And really, there are many modes of transportation. And when you look at the transportation bill, it supports many of those.
Okay, so what could that have to do with happy hour or sneakers?
So one of the things that we have is if we're in DC, we're in an urban area, we have a problem that's known as the last mile problem. When we take the metro, that will get us close to where we want to be, but probably not the whole way there. So how do we get the last mile? Well, we might switch to a bus. We might use one of the electric scooters that we've got around here. We might use bicycles. We might use our feet.
Okay.
And that's where infrastructure and the sneakers come together, because we've got pedestrian infrastructure, and that's a mode. And in DC, you can very much see things where we're trying to improve that last mile, where we have intersections that are better protected for pedestrians and bicyclists against cars.
Okay, it feels like Professor Rod has connected all the dots. If you use public transportation, you need sneakers to walk that final mile to get to your destination, which could be happy hour. Okay, so this is totally my current situation. A few years ago, I got rid of my car and I moved to an apartment building that's conveniently located next to a train station. The thing is, the closest train station to my job is almost a mile away. So when I go to work, I have to walk that final mile, which I don't mind. It's a way for me to get those extra steps in. I didn't realize this was called the last mile. I like that connection, but I want to see if I can find something stronger. I noticed on my own that not having a car means I have to walk around more. Sometimes it's not worth waiting for that second bus or train to make it closer to my destination, so I just walk. When I realized that, I started investing in buying more sneakers. But I've noticed all this walking has caused some wear and tear on my sneakers. So I reached out to a shoe restoration shop to see if infrastructure has caused an uptick in people needing their sneakers repaired.
The heel on the shoe, normally this part of your shoe gets worn down a lot faster if you're a person that don't drive. You know what I mean? If you're always walking a lot. We see shoes a lot of times, you'll see stress from the shoes. And a lot of times you'll see oxidation. Like if you look at this shoe, this side is good, but this side right here is oxidized real bad, and that's pretty much just comes from wear and walking.
All right, so infrastructure also affects sneakers because of the wear and tear that comes with walking the last mile. So far, Professor Rod has connected the dots with the last mile. I also connected sneakers and happy hour through cork. Could cork be connected to infrastructure? Okay, through my Google search, it looks like cork is used in insulation and flooring. Isn't that considered infrastructure? I wonder why Professor Rodas did not mention this.
Thanks for chatting with me again.
So I reached out to her again.
Well, cork is a natural material and it has very interesting properties. It's very light and strong for its weight. Why is it so light? Well, when you look at it, it's a cellular material. So if you take a piece of it and you look at it under the microscope, it looks like a honeycomb. That's the only thing that's solid. That's about 15% of the cork. And the rest of it's air.
Cork seems to be the connector between sneakers, happy hour, and infrastructure.
I don't think of buildings finishes really as being that much infrastructure. I think of them as being more architecture and architectural engineering, where what we're doing is we have a space, and it may be a perfectly functional space for keeping the weather out, but it's not a nice place to be for a human being.
So let me rewind back to how Professor Rodas defined infrastructure.
Infrastructure basically is the physical and organizational facilities that we've got that support our society, that allow us to do what we want to do.
She then mentioned she had an example of a cork manufacturer providing cork for a subway system.
I'm trying to find the subway cars for you.
She emailed it to me. Looks like the company, Amorum, provided the cork used in the flooring of a subway car. Remember, a benefit of using cork is that it's light and strong.
You need the lightness because you're moving the whole car.
The fact that it could help a subway be lighter, which is helpful for the system, that's a way that it fits more of infrastructure versus an architectural finish.
Right, because then the car is lighter. And so now the energy to run the subway is going to be less. And it holds up really well. So it will serve for a long period of time. And it's a natural material. It'll cut the carbon footprint for the subway.
Naturally, I decided to email Amorum. The company is based in Portugal. I was able to chat with the CEO of the company.
Tell me more about your collaboration with Siemens with using a cork on the train flooring.
Siemens is, as you know, one of the leading technological companies in the world. They came to us because they have these carriages that they used to do for inner cities, trams and train carriages. The materials that they were using on the floor and on the subfloor mainly were materials that were not as natural as cork, took them a long time to install, and they were heavy.
Using cork helped Siemens build the carriages faster, which saved them time.
They were able to have a lighter material, which means that they could put more people inside those carriages, and they had an absolutely sustainable story to go through.
As Professor Rodas mentioned, and now Amorum, you may wonder why cork reduces the carbon footprint.
Because they basically come from the bark of a tree that is never cut and continues producing until it is probably 200 or 250 years old.
And it's done without cutting down the tree.
We just peel the bark of the tree every 9 years. So cork as a material has part of the CO2 that tree has captured day and night for those 9 years. And because we don't cut the tree, it does not stop capturing CO2. We are planting thousands, millions of cork trees so that we can have the result of all this effort in 20 or 25 years' time. We are planting trees to have a payback in 25 or 27 years' time. Very forward thinking.
Because cork is such a unique material, Amorum also provides cork for different industries, from aerospace to automotive, expansion joints for airport runways, dams, bridges. And guess what else? Amorum provides cork for orthopedic shoes, Birkenstock, which is probably why they're so comfortable, and get this, sneakers. But 70% of the company still provides cork stoppers for champagne, wine, spirits, happy hour, which reminds me, I need to visit a happy hour. Let's go. Nadine Brown is a sommelier. I met up with her at Charlie Palmer in Washington, D.C. before their happy hour started.
One of the things I love about wine is a little bit of science, a little bit of history, a little bit of technology, and all of that is in cork. Cork has been actually used in wine for centuries, all the way back to the ancient Romans and Greeks. It's just a really great closure for wine. Oxygen and light are both detrimental to wine, and cork just provides a really good seal to protect the wine.
First thing we'll do with shoes, we always take the laces out first. You always want to take your laces out before you start to do anything.
Nathan from Sneaker Mat checked in with me again. He purchased some cork sneakers from eBay. He's repairing them for a sneaker drive he does for kids throughout the year. I'm curious how he's going to bring the cork sneakers back to life.
This particular shoe is the LeBron King Cork. This shoe, basically, the idea of the shoe came from when LeBron won certain championships and they popped champagne, which has a cork in it. So they came up with the whole idea, King Cork.
Some further digging, LeBron wore the King Corks before Game 3 of the championship series against the Golden State Warriors back in 2015, but he didn't win. The Cleveland Cavaliers actually won the championship against the Warriors the following year. So there you have it. Cork is used as a design in sneakers and also as a sole. Cork stoppers are also used for the beverages you see at happy hour, wine, champagne, and spirits. Finally, cork is used in the flooring of train system carriages around the world. Those are the links I found. What links can you find?